Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I just thought it might be kind of fun to do a little bit of a story time video. I've seen a few videos posted about people having experiences with their first jobs and experiences working in the food industry, and I just thought I would go ahead and share mine. Now, my first job was at a little restaurant here in town. It is a chain restaurant, and I don't want to put the name out there just because the story I'm going to tell isn't going to be very flattering, so I don't want to have any repercussions. But it was definitely kind of it had a mom and pop feel to it, but it was a chain restaurant. But it's also only a statewide restaurant. It's not out of the state of Indiana, at least to my knowledge. It wasn't when I worked there. Now, I worked there from the fall of 2006 until the summer or fall of 2010. I worked there for almost 4 years. It came down to being 3 years and 11 months. So yeah, the restaurant I worked at for 3 years and 11 months. I really did enjoy working at this restaurant. It was my very first ever legit job. I'd had jobs before mowing people's yards and stuff like that, but I never had a job, right? So I was 16 when I was 16 when I started working there, and they started me off as the busser, but I quickly went from being a busser to learning cash register to seating people to taking care of the salad bar to waitressing to dishing. I did pretty much everything at this restaurant except for cook, and they asked me if I wanted to learn how to cook, and I told them no, I'm good, because I had horrible acne when I was a teenager, and I seen how greasy the cooks got. They got so greasy and so sweaty and so hot, and I was like, I'm struggling as it is, so no thanks. Looking back on it, I wish I would have learned how to cook there, because they really have good food, and it would have been nice to kind of get some of the recipes memorized. But the story I want to kind of touch on today is kind of it's not going to shed a very good light on the restaurant. Granted, things had greatly improved by the time I left. But the first year or so that I worked there, we had a manager who wasn't the cleanest. I love her. She was awesome. She was really a good manager. She just wasn't very good when it came to making sure things were up to code. And she was really good friends with the district at the time, and the district just kind of let things slide under the radar. So this one day in particular, I think I was bussing tables, but I don't really know what I was doing this day. Like I said, I kind of learned everything in the restaurant. But there's a good chance at this time when she was my manager, there was a good time that I was bussing, because I did a lot of bussing when she was my manager. Anyways, there had been a rack of apple pies, like a large baking rack of apple pies that had been set in this back storage room to cool, because the people who had ordered them were going to come and pick them up. This was definitely one of those restaurants where you come in and you sit down to eat, but you could also do to-go orders. And they had really good pies, and it just happened that day that there was an order of pies for somebody who was having, I don't know, some kind of an event going on or whatever, and they ordered it was 4 or 6 apple pies. And they were just in the back room sitting there to cool, and 16-year-old Kristen comes walking in doing whatever the hell I'm doing. I don't even remember. I went in there for something, and I bumped this tray of apple pies. Now, this was a big cooking sheet full of apple pies, and it was set across a tiny little chair, so it wasn't very sturdy to begin with. And I just bump it, accidentally bump it, and the whole thing falls over on the floor. Several of the pies, 2 or 3 of them, dump upside down on the floor. And even though this back room wasn't used a whole lot for anything other than storage, it wasn't really used. Like I said, my boss at the time wasn't the cleanest, and so things were greasy everywhere. Things got mopped at the end of the night, but the mops we were using were disgusting. I can't say they did a whole lot for cleaning. Kind of just swooshed it all over the floor. It wasn't I wouldn't want to lick that floor. You wouldn't want to eat off of it. Now, the manager we got after my first manager quit, was like a stickler. Like I got my cousin a job there, and she had my cousin down on her hands and knees scrubbing the grout with a toothbrush. I'm not kidding. Like this boss was like on it when it came to clean. So things like greatly improved after my last boss, my first boss, like quit. But before then, things were, you know, it was, yeah, it wasn't the cleanest. So all these pies get knocked, not all of them, but several of these pies get knocked upside down on the floor back in this back room. And I go and I put them all back on the tray, and I take them out to my boss, and I'm like, look, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to knock these all over, but so, like these ones here, whichever ones it was, went upside down on the floor. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to start making another pie, like to replace these? And she's like, no, the people who are buying these are outside waiting for them right now. And she takes her hands, unwashed, no gloves, and remolds the apple pies so that they look nice. And then she takes them and boxes them up and sells them to these people. Now these pies have been upside down on the floor, some of them crumbly. If I remember correctly, she pulled a hair off of one of them. It was disgusting. But she sold them to these people. Like after that, it wasn't until we got a new manager and she like really got things clean in there. Like I didn't eat there again until we got the new manager, because it was like, I was flabbergasted. I could not believe this manager just sold these pies that were upside down on the floor, and then she touched them with her hands and then sold them to these people, knowing fully well that they were upside down on the floor back there. Ew. That was just disgusting. But that's really the only nastiest experience I had there as far as serving people food. I mean, yeah, doing dishes is gross. That's disgusting regardless. And my job itself would get kind of gross sometimes, and the trash cans were really nasty. But as far as the hygiene for serving customers, everything was pretty well up to code other than that incident. And I mean, if she's willing to do it once, you kind of question if she hasn't done it more than once. But yeah, that was my little story time video about my first job. That was just a little incident that happened there. I really did enjoy working there. It really was a good place to work, and I got a lot of good experiences. But that one experience was just the one that I was kind of like, did she really just do that? Did that just happen? You know, it was kind of like, what? I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And that kind of wraps things up for today. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.